basics of Dreamweaver CS6. By the time you go through this tutorial, hopefully you've created a website that has a background, a table and some text. So this is what hopefully the finished product will look like in Safari or any web browser. This is what it would look like in Dreamweaver. So you've got a table, a seamless pattern, and in the links, which will eventually be links, is some text. To create that sort of basic website, you go File and New. When you open up Dreamweaver, you'll have a different type of window. You'll need to select New HTML. So we're going to go Page Type, Create. Now the first thing we need to do is set up our page. So I'm going to give it a title, so my web page, and I'm going to set page properties. Now I'm going to set my fonts as Verdana and my size to 12. I'm not going to worry about text color just yet because I'm going to have a background image. Now when you choose a background image, if you want the pattern to repeat, find a pattern that is actually repeatable, and you can usually either make them yourself or you can find plenty on the internet. So I'm going to click on Browse, and all of my images are saved in an image folder, and I have a blue background and a fancy pattern. So I'm going to go for fancy pattern, click on Open. Ignore that for now. So you have to save it first before you add the relative path. Click on OK. If you click on Apply, it will apply that pattern. So you've got a really nice seamless pattern there, and you can actually take your text colours from the pattern to maintain that consistency. So using our eyedropper, we're going to pick nearest colour. So I want to go for this dark green. There we go. Now I'm going to copy and go into links CSS. I'm going to keep my links as the page font, and my colours are going to be, link colour is going to be the same as my text, and my active links are as well. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a contrasting colour, so maybe the purple, or we could go for a red or a yellow. But remember that depending on your background, whether the colours are going to be able to be seen or not, or even a red. So I think I might go for this pink colour actually, and then I'm going to have that same pink colour, just to differentiate between what is a link colour and what is actual text. So I'm just clicking on that little arrow, and I can choose the colour, or I can use my dropper again. So my rollover link, I think I'm going to have as purple. I could always set my underline style for my hyperlinks as always underline, never underline, show underline only on rollover, which is quite nice. When you roll over it, it shows a line. When I'm happy with that, I'm going to click on OK, and then I'm going to start building this part here, actually inserting the table. So what I've done is inserted a table with 1, 2, 3 rows and 1, 2, 3 columns, and then I've used merge and split to create my layout. So insert table 3 by 3. I've set the table width to 1000 pixels rather than percent. If you set it to percent, it will always be a certain amount of the web page. If you keep it at 1000 pixels, it will always be at 1000 pixels. Keep your border thickness at 0, cell padding at 0, cell spacing at 0. When you're happy, click on OK. Select all of those cells and go down to background or BG and choose white. You can make the table slightly bigger. Like so. Don't want it that big. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start manipulating my cells to create an area for my banner and an area for my links. So these will maintain or should stay nicely spaced. You can have them going across the whole thing and create a navigation bar that way. You can merge all of the cells here, but you want to be able to have sort of a nice margin. So selecting all of those cells, I'm going to go down here and go merge row, and that will create one long row for me. And then by clicking in the middle, I'm going to click on split, columns 3, click on OK. So what I can do now is if I put in my home tutorials contact, I can set those to be center of each page and in the middle. I can adjust the cells when I'm happy. I will have a quick look at how it's laid out. Eventually in this area I'll be putting a banner, but these will be my links, and this particular area will be where I will write. Now obviously you don't want the text just there, you want it to possibly be near the top. Now there are different ways that you can do that. You can set the horizontal and vertical and it'll be right at the top. So if we now file, save as, make sure we call it test2, make sure you've got .html as your format, click on save, and we can now preview in Safari, and that's how our web page is looking at the moment. I'm happy with the spacing either side. I'm happy with that spacing there. I'd like my table to be in the middle of the page, so if I expand it, what's happened is that it's still stuck in the middle, but I want to be able to have two equal sides. So to do that, you select your table and you default it to the center. So if we file, save again, preview in Safari, we've now got, no matter where our page is, we've got a nice margin of the pattern around. So that's how you would set up your basic table in Dreamweaver.